there's really only one person who seems to fit. Well, I wonder what happens if I pick myself. Well, not that. Thinking about it, I honestly wouldn't have had any idea if they were not so easily showing their card. It's kind of ironic that the person with the best poker face made themselves the suspect here.
Here's my answer. It was Celeste.
So I'm the suspicious individual now, am I? I really do hate this kind of joke.
A joke? I wonder.
So what you are saying, then, is that I specifically chose to work together with Hifumi. The idea that I would choose to spend any amount of time interacting with him, that I would go within 10 feet of that shit for brains, that lazy, worthless goddamn idiot!
Oh shit.
Pardonnez-moi.
Just to be clear, there is evidence to support it.
Is that so?
It is. Throughout the investigation, there was certain behavior that was common only to the two of you. Considering what we've learned so far, it only further proves that the two of you were working together.
What behavior is that? The paper. No. When you think about it, it really is just this.
I got it! The behavior they had in common has to do with the suspicious individual in the suit, doesn't it? The only ones who ever actually saw Robo-Justice firsthand were Celeste and Hifumi.
Yeah.
Shush, the adults are talking now.
What the fuck?
Sorry.
As he said, only Celeste and Hifumi ever laid eyes on the costumed individual.
You
If we
fucking
accept that Hifumi was one of the culprits, we can't help but suspect what Celeste has said as well.
Are you saying everything they told us was a lie?
After taking Hifumi to the nurse's office, we all began our search for this individual, correct? And not too long after that, do you remember what Celeste said?
I saw a shadow, something moving around at the top of the stairs.
We headed to the second floor specifically because of what she claimed to have seen. Next, to draw us all to the physics lab up on the third floor,
She let out a blood-curdling scream.
and when we'd all come to see what was wrong, what was it she said?
Celeste, what's wrong? That was a rather intense scream for someone like you. I saw him, the strange costume man. He ran off as soon as I screamed. I was walking the stairs, so he headed further down into the hallway and disappeared.
Once she'd done her job of getting us all up to the physics lab, it was time for her partner to get to work.
So this is when he got killed. Sorry, not when he died, but when he pretended to.
It was to get us to divide into two groups, so that we would discover both bodies at the same time?
In fact, Celeste was precisely the one who proposed that we split up.
Oh shit, she was. Oh, wait, very well, then Makoto and Hina, you come with me to the nurse's office. I will leave the capture of the suspicious individual to Toko at the Akiensaka.
Well, if Celeste and Hifumi were working together, all those chance events suddenly become connected. And on top of that, that piercing cry of yours early on. That was to signal Hifumi, wasn't it? It was your way of telling him, we're on the third floor, everything's going according to plan. Why else would you let out a scream that could have carried across the sea?
I just realized another strange thing. When we found Hifumi in the nurse's office, who we now know was only pretending to be dead,
I certainly was not expecting this. I did not imagine that Fumi would be murdered.
Celeste, you were the first one to say he'd been murdered. You wanted to make sure we wouldn't have any doubt in our minds.
I don't believe it. Everything, the whole thing was one big act.
Hina, you were with Celeste when Hifumi's body disappeared, right?
Yeah. I was feeling kinda sick, so Celeste took me to the bathroom. Wait! Then that was...
She wasn't worried about you. She just saw a chance to help Hifumi sneak out of the nurse's office.
Each piece isn't much by itself, but start putting them together and the picture gets very ugly indeed. Wouldn't you agree, Celeste?
I have no idea what you mean.
Yikes, that's one hell of a
Don't bother trying to deny it. You made one fatal mistake.
Oh, did I?
I didn't even catch it myself when you first said it, but looking back, I can say that that one little slip-up was your undoing.
And what slip-up was that?
What are you talking about?
I'm talking about what you said after Hifumi's body disappeared and we returned to the nurse's office.
They must be really enjoying this. Enjoying the sight of us standing around, frightened and confused. We're all going to die here. We're going to die just like those guys did.
I remember her saying that too, but I don't understand what's so strange about it.
Then pay attention.
Those guys.
Sakura, Toko, and I were first to discover Taka's body in the equipment room. Then Makoto showed up and told us Hifumi had been killed, so Sakura and I left with Makoto. Once we were in the hall, we ran into Celeste, and the four of us headed to the nurse's office. Now, the entire time we were together, none of us said anything about Taka being dead.
Oh shit.
Think about it. Celeste's comment doesn't make sense. It was completely out of place.
Yeah, I see what you're talking about. Although I don't really get what it means.
She knew Taka died
You hear that,
before he was
Celeste?
told.
Everyone's having some trouble understanding. Could you repeat what you said? If you're really not the culprit, you shouldn't have any problem repeating it, right?
Yakin said that Celeste's comment doesn't make sense. What is he alluding to? Fuck the file.
All I said was... They must really be enjoying this. Enjoying the sight of us standing around, frightened and confused. They must be positively elated. We are all going to die here. We are going to die, just like those guys died. And that is all I said.
And that's all it takes to finish this. It's obvious, isn't it? What was so strange about Celeste's comment?
When she said that, she should have only known about Fumi's death. With that in mind, what's so strange about what she said? What's so strange about what she says?
All I said was, they must really be enjoying the sight of us. They must be. We are going to die.
Just like those... No, that's wrong!
It's right, Makoto. They did die.
That's right. There's no reason Celeste should have said, just like those guys died. When she said that, none of us had told her Taka was dead.
Exactly. And we didn't run into her until after we were all out in the hall. So there was never any chance for her to have seen his body in the equipment room for herself.
So how did you know, Celeste? How did you know more than one person had been killed? And how did you know they were both guys? Because Kyoko had also disappeared, right? So she could have been dead too.
That's a fair point.
You all have such vivid imaginations. You know that?
Yeesh.
imaginations.
You claim that I was lying when I told you about the suspicious person I saw. Then what about the picture I took? How do you explain this picture of the costumed villain dragging Hifumi away?
I think we already solved this mystery.
It has to be some kind of setup, right? So let's put the suit on, and then she used the camera's timer to set up the picture.
Have you so quickly forgotten? You are the only one who could have possibly fit into that suit. Plus, I happen to know that this particular camera does not have a timer.
How do you know that?
In other words, it is an unassailable fact that this is a picture of Hifumi being dragged away. If everything I told you was a lie, how can this picture exist?
Simple. Are we sure that's really a picture of the suspect dragging Hifumi away?
Suspect.
What could you possibly mean by that?
Surely there are other explanations than the one you've offered up.
No, there is no other explanation.
Yes, there is. Other explanations? If it wasn't the picture of the suspect dragging Hifumi away, then the only other possibility is Hifumi and the suspect drinking and they're dancing. He's dragging him away. Them away. Whoever it is away.
I got it! It's not a picture of the suspect dragging Hifumi away. I would say it's a picture of Hifumi dragging the suspect away.
That's certainly within the realm of possibility. The one being dragged off in that picture isn't Hifumi, but the person in the robot suit. We've simply been led to believe that it's the other way around. And the strange costume might only exist to lead us astray even farther. If you saw someone wearing something like that in this situation, of course you'd notice and be suspicious.
That's what happened! You put me to sleep and made me out to be the bad guy in all this!
Poor hero, he was framed.
Such a thing is utterly impossible. Hifumi was dragging him away? Ridiculous.
Is it? I don't think it's ridiculous at all.
Then shut your mouth and allow me to educate you.
Celeste thinks that she can prove that there's no way Hifumi was dragging the suspect away. But is that really possible?
You dressed me up in that suit after I passed out! Then you just draped me across Hifumi and had him carry my weight! You tried to make me look like the bad guy!
Like I said, ridiculous. As you can see in the picture, the suspect is standing perfectly upright. If the person inside the suit was unconscious, there's no way they could stand up straight like that.
No, that's wrong! No. Even if the person inside the suit were unconscious, they could still stand up like that. Because that Robo-Justice suit had a certain characteristic.
You totally can't bend at the waist. Seems like a pretty obvious oversight.
That's right! They totally made a mistake when they made it, so it couldn't bend at the waist.
I'm not so sure that was a mistake. I think the suit was designed from the beginning to be used the way it was.
Celeste and Hifumi took the suit they'd specially designed and stuffed Hiro into it. That's how they were able to fake that whole thing. The point of it all was to make us believe whoever was in the suit was to blame.
Oh god, that face.
Well then, I suppose this is checkmate.
Checkmate?
It's doing the crazy spin. She's going nuts.
Laugh, you idiot! What do you mean, checkmate? Celeste? Clearly, you want to cram me into your little guilty box. Well, there's one little problem. Have you already forgotten what Hifumi told us as he lay dying?
Hey, Fumi, who was it? Who attacked you? Who tried to kill you? Who killed me? That's right, I remember. Their name. Yasuhiro.
When we asked him who had attacked him, his answer was quite clear, was it not? He said, and I quote, Yasuhiro.
In other words, Yasuhiro Hagakure!
Right! But my name isn't really Yasuhiro! It's actually Taro!
Your confusing statements don't make any sense. You're only making things more complicated.
Yeah.
He did say Yasuhiro, but are we sure he was really pointing the finger at Hiro?
What the hell are you talking about? I'll burn you alive!
Kyoko,
Jesus Christ.
what do you mean by that?
Think back to how Hifumi used to talk to us. How did he refer to each of us?
Okay. I know the answer to this. Slightly unfortunately, it was kind of spoiled to me already. Thanks, Rosen. But he said people's last names.
I got it! That's right! Our last names! He called us all by our last names!
Exactly. I know I heard him say Mr. Naegi more than once, for example. So if Hifumi did mean to say Hiro's name, he would have said his last name, Hagakure.
I'm sure it was just incidental. By chance, his first name.
What's Celeste?
Indecent?
Don't talk.
Random chance. Now isn't that a convenient explanation? No, there's no reason to think he would have said the name any different than normal. But he must have run out of energy before he could say any more.
So Hifumi was trying to tell us the last name of whoever killed him?
But the name he said doesn't apply to anyone here.
Well, no. Hold on. There's one person it could apply to, and that's Celeste. She never actually told us what her real name is.
Yup.
What did you just say? To think you'd take your false accusation so far, I don't know whether to laugh or spit! Come on! Enough with your idiotic blather! Yasuhiro is a loser's name! Do I look like a loser to you? Well, do I? What? I think I've earned the right to be a little on edge.
Okay, then fill us in. What's your real name?
Make sure your ear holes are wide open and listen up! My real name is Celestia Ludenberg. Could you please stop making me repeat myself over and over again?
Celeste still won't give up, so then let's do something to make her accept it. Oh, Jesus Christ. Oh my god, it's kind of obvious when you think about it.
Hifumi was trying to tell us something.
Everyone's e-handbook has
He
her
wanted
name,
us to
doesn't
know
it?
the killer's last name, Yasuhiro.
If there's one person here who might have that last name,
It would have to be you, Celeste. You haven't told anyone what your real name is.
How many times do I have to tell you? My name is... Celestia Ludenberg, god damn it!
Eesh.
How long do you plan to go on pretending?
I'm not pretending. It's the truth. And since you have no way to contradict me...
No, that's wrong! That's it! The handbook!
What?
Anytime you turn your handbook on, it shows the owner's name when it boots up, right? Monokuma told us all about it before.
was a long time ago. I'm actually surprised I even remembered that. But this handbook is absolutely vital to a healthy school life. Don't lose it. When you start out, it will display your name. Always make sure you have it the right one. Now, this is not your everyday notebook. It has so many more uses than that.
So all we have to do is check her handbook, and that'll clear up everything. That's how we can find out Celeste's real name.
That's an invasion of privacy. I refuse to cooperate.
Celeste, can you please just tell us what really happened? Please, just tell us.
Even when I'm put in check, it's just my nature not to give up. Because until the game's over, you never know what might happen.
Fine then. Let me settle it. Let me go over the case again, from the beginning, and shed light on all your crimes.
You know, I wonder if...
And that'll bring everything to an end.
Okay. If I was able to, like... What's the word? If I focused on her entirely with all the things to do during free time, because I did speak with her a lot. I was interested in Celeste's character, but I definitely know I didn't get her friendship levels to maximum. I wonder, if I did, would she have just told us? Or would she have, acted nicer? Because honestly, the fact that she was so mean out of the blue is the only reason why I even thought that she was the one that did it. Outside of that, it didn't really seem that odd to me with her screaming and whatnot. Sure, it was out of character, but I think a lot of things out of character would happen if you saw the murderer running around while dressed up like a Gundam. But anyway. Alright. Oh god, I hate this. Okay. So, Act 1. Hifumi meets up with Celeste. I'm not even sure. Okay, let's just go from the beginning. Side profile. So, this is where Hifumi and Celeste come up with the idea. Next. That's around 1 a.m. That's when he arrived. What happened here? I guess he was just... I don't know. I guess this is it. Him. So they stuff him into the costume. Then there's the camera. Take a picture with him. Poor Fumi getting wrecked. But anyway, Act 3. Around... Oh, this is the watch, not clock. Arrives, and unfortunately for him, he gets brained by number 4. So, Celeste then gives it to him. I wonder if he actually smacked himself with number 2. Here, he faked his death. Justice Hammer number 3. And they were found around the same time. After which... he rolled them around, pushed them along, down there, and he was very happy with Celeste. And while he was,
the killer is You! Before anything, the killer persuaded someone to help carry out the murder. And that person was... Hifumi. With an accomplice, the killer was able to execute a number of otherwise impossible schemes. First, they convinced someone to meet them in the rec room last night at 1 in the morning. That someone they met with was Hiro. The murderous duo intended to pass Hiro off as the prime suspect, so when they met up with him, they drugged him, knocked him out, and stuffed him into the Robo-Justice suit. Next, Hifumi positioned himself to make it look like Robo-Justice was attacking him, while the killer used a digital camera to take pictures of the assault. They did all this just to create evidence that would put the suspicion on Hiro. When they were done with him, they shoved him, still unconscious, into the pool room locker. And then finally, at 6 a.m., they moved into the murder phase of their plan. They called Taka to the equipment room. And that's where Hifumi killed him, making it the scene of the first murder. The murder weapon was Justice Hammer 4, which was left there in the equipment room. The reason Hammer number 4 was used was to create confusion about the order of the crimes. So, next they falsified 2 more assault incidents. For these attacks, the killers pretended to be the victims to solidify Robo-Justice as the suspect. The first fake incident was the attack in the rec room. There, the killers wanted us to see Justice Hammer 1 and the Robo-Justice pictures they'd taken. They wanted to make sure we bought the surprise attack story. The second fake incident was the attack in the library. This time, they planted Justice Hammer 2 and an injured Hifumi to sell us that story. With these 2 incidents, the killers were able to create a certain preconception in our minds that the suspect was increasing the size of the hammers and attacking people in order as they did. We fell right into their trap and started looking for the suspect based on that. But while we did that, we left Hifumi alone in the nurse's office. This was exactly what Hifumi was hoping for. He took a blood packet from the refrigerator and Justice Hammer 3 and turned the room into a crime scene in which he himself had apparently been brutally murdered. He let out a scream to draw us back, and when we returned, that's what we found. Meanwhile, the other group that had been out searching found Taka's body at the same time. So when we heard the body discovery announcement, we naturally assumed it was for Hifumi. We left the nurse's office, and Hifumi once again took advantage of the situation. He simply got up and made his escape. When we learned his body had disappeared, we all rushed back to the nurse's office. And once again, Hifumi had the chance he was waiting for. This time, he snuck into the equipment room. He wrapped Taka's body in a tarp and used the dolly to move it all the way down to the repository. That explains how each of the bodies disappeared. But even Hifumi didn't know what the true killer had in mind for their final act. Their plan all along was to kill Hifumi and get rid of the one person who could betray them. And they did it using an ordinary, everyday hammer from the repository. That should cover everything that happened in this case. And the villain behind it all is... Celeste! Sorry, you lose.
I lost? When was the last time I was forced to utter such words? They hang heavy around my neck.
Then you admit it? You're the killer?
Listen to you, trying to take charge, as if you're my private instructor. I, Celestia Ludenberg. Actually, no, Taiko Yasuhiro is fine.
Taiko?
So, you finally accepted it.
I'm the kind of person, once I've lost, I don't like things to drag on.
Interesting.
So, that's that. I'm kind of at a loss for words, to be honest. I like Celeste. So, I mean, that and, to be perfectly honest, the stuff involving sussing out people's words was very, very annoying. I don't know if it was just in this case in particular, or if it's going to get more difficult from here, but honestly, that part was really, really the worst part of the game for me thus far. I never thought I'd want to rage quit a game like this, but that's sort of what happened. Aside from that, I did kind of figure out most of the plot before it even began. Granted, I guess that was possible if I paid attention with the clues in the other cases, but I did definitely enjoy this one. It never occurred to me that Celeste was the mastermind until, well, she kind of showed her hand a little too much. She took a gamble, and it did not pay off. If she just kept quiet and acted like she usually did, I probably would have thought she was the one. Ah well. Also Hifumi's pants. Alright.
Okay, Monokuma. I'm ready to begin. Or, no. I suppose this is the end, isn't it?
It is indeed the moment we've all been waiting for. Time to vote. Okay? Okay. If you would, please locate your lever and cast your vote. And when the votes are tallied, who will become the blackened? Will you make the right choice or the dreadfully wrong one? What's it gonna be? What's it gonna be?
It's basically a formality at this point. But once again, you're totally correct. Okay. The Blacken this time. The true killer who devised the whole stinking scheme was... Celestia Ludenberg, or more precisely, Taiko Yasuhiro.
Honestly,
I lost. Well, that sucks. Guess trying to work with someone else was a mistake after all. Fumi's ineptitude was beyond all my calculations.
I knew it.
So you really did approach Ifumi with this plan? But how did you get him to agree? Can't imagine the world happily agreed to commit murder. I'm sure she relied on her speciality, lying. My speciality? Don't make me laugh. I didn't have to lie to get him to agree.
So then,
Did you use, I knew you'd figure it out, Kyoko. You're absolutely right. To get Ifumi to act as my accomplice, I used her. For everyone who's still left, I'll avoid mentioning it by name, but it was the one thing Ifumi and Taka were both super into. Does she mean... Is she talking about alter ego? Huh. So alter ego was sort of responsible for it. What?
Say what?
What? What are you talking about?
just a second.
Don't interrupt. We're in the middle of a very important conversation. Totally out of the loop as usual. How sad.
In other words,
Then you're the one that stole it.
Indeed.
That's right.
I
You
see.
used it to drag Ifumi into the plan you come up with. Right again. Last night, after we had our meeting about how it disappeared, I paid Ifumi a little visit. What are you doing here?
Actually,
I was hoping I could talk to you, alone. It is about what was stolen. I know who did it.
what? Are you okay with
It's
this?
Taka. He stole it. What?
So
I have
then,
proof. Would you like to see it? As it turned out, I found a use for the digital camera. I'd taken you-know-what to Taka's room earlier and took pictures of it there. I deleted the picture as soon as I'd shown it to Ifumi, of course.
Damnation!
So it was him. But how did you do it? She was supposed to yell if either of us got close to her. You're correct, which is why Taka forced me to steal it.
Say what?
as for
Please
me,
forgive me. He threatened me.
Oh,
He did?
as for
Came
me,
to my room last night unannounced, and then it's hard for me to even say. Holy fuck! Holy fuck, Celeste. That's one hell of an accusation.
what?
And he took pictures. He said if I did not do as he asked, he would show them to everyone. So I had no choice.
Damnation!
That's a crime, an absolute crime. He'd gone a little crazy, but
Say what?
I never imagined he would go that far. It was amazing how completely he bought it. Can't express how enjoyable that was. Jesus Christ. Fuck, that got... I know this is about murder, but that got even more dark fucking quick. I'm about to say something I never said before in my life.
Completely unforgivable!
I'm going to fucking kill him.
most unfortunate.
If you go now, you'll be playing right into his hands.
Actually,
Taka is planning to use her to escape, and he has made you his target.
What?
Escape? You don't mean... Taka is going to try to kill you,
indeed.
and all so he can keep her to himself.
This is unforgivable! Completely unforgivable!
Honestly,
Can we allow him to continue with these barbaric acts? Absolutely not. How could I? She...
I swear I will save her!
actually,
Then, would you like to join with me? It just so happens I've come up with a plan. I have devised a way to reclaim what I have stolen and escape this dreadful school. With that, it is complete. What are you talking about? Oh, nothing. Ifumi agreed without second thought. The effect the item had on him was remarkable. You know, I honestly thought Hifumi was an annoying, kind of creepy guy. After that, my opinion of him went up, because honestly, I thought he was a creepy guy that killed out of jealousy, but if he did it because his friend was, well, had supposedly gone through what she claimed she did, even though it's still a despicable crime, it's a bit more... I'm more empathetic, I suppose. Yeah, kinda strange. I hated Hifumi and liked Celeste, and now it's the complete other way around. I guess that's the magic of this game, huh? The power of love. Even a love as twisted as that can still drive people mad, it would seem. You disgust me.
I see.
I have another question for you. Was that strange costume Hifumi's creation?
Indeed.
Yeah, it was a real pain in the butt, too. All I asked him to do was make something to hide the face and general body size. I had no idea to make something like that, but it's my fault for picking him in the first place.
But...
So why'd you decide to make me the suspect? Because you're stupid. That's it.
Let's see.
In that regard, I made the right choice. I'm so glad your stupidity surpassed my every expectation. Life must have been tough on your parents, though. I feel like I could cry. Jesus Christ. Ugh.
Well,
But when you were explaining your plan to Hifumi, how did you explain the part about him playing dead? What she's asking is, what was Hifumi supposed to do after that, assuming you actually let him live?
Are you okay with this?
That's simple. After he did his part and pretended to be dead, once someone showed up, he told him to save being seriously wounded. He was on the verge of death, but was just barely held on. They really believed that. Well, of course, that wasn't all there was to it. So I explained it to Hifumi. The plan was, well, you were all questioning him about what had happened, so now he's going to murder someone else. At that point, Hifumi would have an alibi, so nobody could doubt him. I told him that, and he believed it. It all seems very straightforward, stereotypical. I just matched the lie to the level of the opponent. In fact, Hifumi ate it up. He believed the lie wholeheartedly, right up until the moment of his death.
so in the end...
So you had planned to kill him all along. Well, of course. There would have been no point in my plan if the one who pretended to be dead did not end up dead himself.
What the heck?
How can human life mean so little to you?
Well,
That's a non-issue. I simply did everything in my power to win.
Don't be mean!
Now you sound like Byakuya.
I wonder about that.
No, he derives his pleasure from the thrill of the hunt. In that aspect, we are nothing alike.
Why?
And what make you take things this far?
What the heck?
Is it really just for money? Are you talking about the $10 million Monokuma offering us? That is a lot of money, true. But that's not all there is to it. From the moment our new life here began, my only thought has been escape.
But...
All along, you've been saying how we had to accept living there.
You little bitch!
Obviously, that was a lie.
Hey!
I couldn't take it. I hated it from day one. More than anyone, and more than anyone else in here.
You little
I
bitch!
wanted to get out. Every day was fresh torture. And do you want to know why?
This is fine.
Because I had a dream. What kind of dream are we talking about, Celeste? And accepting life here would have meant nothing less than giving up on my dream friend. Okay. Jesus. I'm sorry, I've been somewhat traumatized by David Cage.
Honestly.
And there was no way I could ever do that. In the underground world of gambling, I risked my life to make a metaphorical killer.
As for
It
me,
was all for that dream. And what was that dream of yours?
isn't it wonderful?
To live in a European castle. A castle? Holy. And to gather handsome men from all over the world to serve as my butler/bodyguards. I was going to make them dress up like vampires and satisfy my every need. Once I obtained that, I would create a perfectly aesthetic world of decadence.
This is fine.
Living the rest of my life there was my only dream, my only goal. That's what life is all about. Combined with my own winnings, Monokuna's $10 million would have made that dream a reality. I got right to the edge, but
There is nothing to be done.
unfortunately, my dream has been scared to the wind. Still, I don't have any regrets. I pursued my dream till the very end, so why would I?
just the worst.
You sound so passionate, but you're really about to kill your own friends for it.
Oh,
Are you asking me to feel guilty? That's a pointless endeavor. I think nothing is sacrificing others for my own ends. I feel nothing.
do you understand?
That's all there is to me. That's what makes me complete. Is it terrifying how different our values are? There's simply no room for understanding.
What is this?
That's what we should be saying. That's what we should be saying. And plus, how can you be so calm? Don't you realize you're about to die? Why aren't you scared? My ability to lie is unrivaled, and I take pride in it. It's not just other people. I can even fool my own emotions. The conscious deceives the unconscious. And that's why you're not scared.
Yes,
That's
indeed.
right. You don't fear death. Kill me however you like. But you know, if I could be reincarnated, if I had a choice, then
Isn't it wonderful?
I think I would like to come back as Marie Antoinette.
Hey,
You just get executed again. Celeste smiled then. And when she did, it looked to me like a poor effort to force it. She claimed she could fool her own feelings, but that statement itself must have been her final lie. And that weak fake smile is what betrayed her.
Thrills, chills, kills!
Y'all done? Okay then, let's get rolling. The black and disturbed peace and they must pay the price.
Now then, I prepared a very special punishment!
The ultimate gambler.
Let's give it everything we've got! It's punishment time!
I guess I'll let Kyoko hold on to this.
What?
This is...
Will it really give you the hope you're looking for? I can't say I ever saw it that way. Which is why... Actually, it's not important. Well then... Take care, everyone. Perhaps we'll meet again. In another life.
Danganronpa.